little artist. In this video I will show you how to use different watercolor techniques to create this fun painting. You can even decorate it for the upcoming holidays if you would like. Due to the amount of time needed for this project, you may want to separate the work into 2 or more sessions. The following supplies will be needed for this project: thick paper, pencil, eraser, watercolors, a small amount of salt, paintbrushes of different sizes, water for cleaning your brushes, and a black Sharpie or black drawing pen for outlining. We will begin by drawing a line for the bumper with a pencil. Keep in mind that you need to draw lightly so that you can easily erase when needed. This line should not go all the way to the edge, but we will begin turning it into a rectangle. To help me add some detail, I'm going to find the halfway mark, and then I'm going to go over and add another little rectangle right on top. I will add one to the other side as well. Keep in mind while you're working on the car that cars are symmetrical, the same on both sides. So whatever you do to one side you must do to the other, and try really hard to make them look similar. Now I'm going to go up from the bumper to add the roof. The roof will be about the width of those 2 bumps on the bumper. Once I get the width of the roof, I'm going to start curving it down to the body of the car. Next, I'm going to add the windshield. The windshield should follow along with the outside edge of the car until it gets down to the body. To add some detail to the hood, I'm going to start by making a mark halfway of the bumper, and I'm going to curve down to that halfway mark, starting at the edge and then curving down to the halfway mark. I will add another curved line under the windshield to make it appear to be curved on the hood. For the headlights, I'm going to start with one circle and then I'll add another circle around that circle. Here I added a detail to the bumper that is optional. For a steering wheel, I added 2 curved lines, and then next I will add a rear view mirror. For the side mirrors, I'm going to start with a rectangle. Keep in mind that cars are symmetrical. Whatever I do to one side, I need to do to the other. So there I will add another rectangle on the other side for that side mirror and then attach them. From the angle we are looking at our car, we are only going to see 2 tires, and only a little bit of those 2 tires will show. Here I'm adding, it's like a rectangular shape, trying to space them from the same distance from the edges on both sides to create our 2 tires that we would see from the front. Now that our car is complete, we can start adding the details to make it unique. You could add some suitcases to the top of your car. You could add some presents to the top. You could even have a tree hanging out the side. If you choose to add a tree, please do not draw the tree with your pencil. I will show you a special way to paint a tree later in this demonstration. To mark the place for my tree, I'm just drawing one little line for the trunk. On each side of the car, I'm going to draw a soft wavy line to represent the snow that would be on the ground. I'm also going to draw lines that start at the edge of the car and go outwards to the edge of the paper. This will represent the tracks of the cars that have previously driven down this road. We've been talking a lot about space and how things that are closer to us are larger, and as they get further away they get smaller. And that is what we're trying to represent by the angles of the tracks in the snow. Now that we have everything drawn, it's time to start adding paint. We're going to use watercolors, and don't forget, to make watercolors work you have to add water. The more water you add, the lighter your color. The more color you add and the more you rub the paint cake to pick up color, the more color you will see. You'll notice that I try to add darker colors around the edges of the car, and then in the middle on the hood I try to use a lighter value. So that means I used more water and less paint. Of course, when I say more water, I do not mean for you to get your brush completely wet. To be able to control watercolors, you need to keep your brush just wet enough to use, but not dripping wet. Now, when I go to paint the tree, it's going to be different. I'm not going to paint a solid shape. Instead, I'm going to paint little curls that kind of curl up at the end. The line starts at the tree trunk that we drew before, and then I curl out from there little curls, and as I go down the trunk of the tree, the curls get larger and larger. you'll notice that I continue to add more water and more paint. While painting on this part of your painting, you need to make sure that you're not using too much water. Every time I get water, I just barely wet the tip of the brush because I need to be able to control the watercolors and be able to paint the lines with the watercolors. Make sure that while you're painting your tree, you fill in as many of the white spaces as possible. However, you will not fill them all in. There will still be some white showing through the branches of your tree. As you continue to paint, make sure to use lights and darks in each space that you paint. You can also paint one space at a time. For instance, this purple package, I painted the purple first. I let it dry before I went back to paint the polka dots on top. I did this because I wanted to make sure that the polka dots did not bleed into the purple. Now I'm ready to add the tracks in the snow. I'm going to use the little blue, mostly water, and I'm going to start in the middle of the track and go outward so that it lightens up. I'm also going to add a shadow up under the car with this blue. And you can see that that shadow goes all the way up to the edge of the car. Now I'm ready to start painting the sky. Please make sure you have your salt ready before you begin. We're going to use a wet on wet technique by wetting our brush and wetting the paper first for the whole sky. Then we're going to add a little blue paint and we're going to paint in the blue on top of the wet paper. Make sure to be careful when painting close to the car and other items so that you don't bleed your color into those things. While the blue is still wet, take a pinch of salt, rub it between your fingers and sprinkle salt all over the blue. Now you leave it to dry, and as it dries, the salt absorbs the color and leaves little snowflakes as if they were falling from the sky. Once your painting is completely dry, use your hand to brush off all of the salt, and you're now ready to trace your lines with either a Sharpie or a drawing pen. I hope you enjoyed this project and thank you for watching.